All right. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today, Monday's version of Lions Talk Live, morning show edition. And I got some good feedback yesterday. I want to thank you all for it, for the mock draft or the interactive mock draft that we ran yesterday. I do want to thank you all for taking time to offer feedback and take part in it live, and then some even people after it posted. So thank you all very much for that. Also, as you're probably telling from the thumbnail, today's show, we're going to dive into free agency at least a little bit, try to get everybody on board. Figured if we did the mock draft yesterday, it would only make sense to try to dive into potential free agents for the Lions to acquire and how to try to find a good common ground between acquiring talent in free agency and then also the draft. So before we get into today's show, though, as you guys all probably know, couple things. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 5,800, and I want to say we're about 30 subs away. So if you're willing to do so, please try to help the channel out. Also, if you enjoy the content, hit the thumbs up thingy, button, whatever, and go from there. Lastly, if you are unaware, outside of being a YouTuber and a coach, I'm a realtor, have been for a long time, about 30 some years. So if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. Get a hold of me and let me see if I can use that 30-ish years of experience on your behest, try to save you some money on either the purchase or sale of property in Michigan. If you're outside of Michigan, still feel free to get a hold of me and give you some advice, maybe hook you up with someone who can work on your behest. All right, all that out of the way. Let's get going. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it, I'll go through the comment section real quick, and then we'll get into the free agency lists that I put up. All right, Jason, good morning, all. Good morning to you. JDC, same to you. Good morning. All right, Jason, yesterday's podcast helped me realize I know nothing about the draft, players that are available, and how difficult it has been to run an NFL team. 100%. I would say this. The big thing, at least in my eyes, you guys take it for what it's worth, but throw your thoughts out there. The biggest thing, if you're going to run a pro sports franchise, any sport, basketball, football, you guys get the gist. You got to be able to ID talent. You have to be able to figure out the emotional components too. When I got hired as a coach, as a scout, the biggest thing they wanted me to be able to do is they could find tons of people that could ID, man, this person's athletic or this person has certain skill sets that would be marketable to go out there and get somebody. But now you got to figure out who the person is internally. And that's no easy task for a general manager to put a franchise's future on the line, let alone their own career. So, Jason, you're spot on. There's a lot that goes into it. And the ones who do it well are worth their weight in gold. And so Brad Holmes, He's done incredibly well in 3 seasons here in Detroit. And I got to say this, teams got to be salivating over trying to hire him away from Detroit. I'm going to be real biased here. I hope the day never comes where Sheila Ford Hamp ever allows Brad Holmes to leave. So hopefully he gets a real good long extension on his current contract. All right, Big Eddie, greetings and salutations, everyone. Will Brad Holmes spend money this offseason? That's going to be one of the big questions, isn't it? Will he open up the book? He hasn't done it a ton here in his time in Detroit. I'll say this. I don't anticipate he's going to go after the top flight free agents, the big name guys that are going to get all the money. I think he's going to be, I know we use the term Dollar General Brad here on the show, but I think that's probably going to remain the case. Michael, greetings and salutations, Coach and Duke Crew, back at you. Hopefully you're having a great one. JDC, I agree, Jason. That's why I'm not much into the draft process. Makes my brain go boom. Yeah. And I would say this, just have fun with it when we do it on the show, or if you watch other people's show. I got to think, if you go back and look at each of Brad Holmes' drafts, outside of maybe the first round, I doubt if too many people have picked him correctly. And the easy one, I guess you would say, would be Aiden Hutchinson. After that, I don't think too many people had him trading down from 6 to 12 to get Gibbs, Laporta, or picking Penei Sewell. Maybe somebody picked Penei Sewell. I don't know. I don't remember 3 years ago, but hopefully you guys get my point. Hootskar, for free agency, get us another hardworking, talented defensive end. But honestly, if we can lock up just one of our main needs there, it can minimize our needs for the draft. Yeah, I would agree. And it's just my thoughts. But if it's me, I'm probably going after in free agency corner and then edge rusher. I do believe, while who knows if we'll be right with what we got in the mock draft yesterday, I do believe there's going to be a lot of offensive line help in the latter part of the first round that could step in and help Detroit. Now, saying that for the edge rush and cornerback spot, I think is a little bit more iffy. Doesn't mean there aren't guys. I just think there's less return on investment there. Potential return on investment. George, good morning, everyone. Coach, I seen a video on your end of the game Friday night. You're a better man than me. Would have been yelling and screaming at the refs. You handled it very well. It is what it is, man. Time to move on. I mean, that's 3 days ago, and I appreciate you saying that, George. That's very kind of you. But, hey, both teams, I'm going to give the PR speech here. Both teams played great. We could have done some things differently. It's unfortunate. Maybe there were a few calls that did not go our way. I guess we'll just say, and just move on. Nothing you can do about it now, so think forward. But thank you for that. Jason, I think the window of opportunity is now for the next few years. Who is available? Names. All right, we'll get into that. I tell you what, we'll go 2 minutes, let people get in the chat. So at how about this? 7:08, we'll go through the list. So give everybody a couple more minutes to get in here. Bergs, good morning. Dan and Duke crew, great draft yesterday. Was a success. Thanks for that, Bergs, man. And hey, I know you've been helping the channel out a lot, and I just want to say this in front of everybody, man. Thank you so much, man. You've been a great boon and help for me and the channel and helping do all this stuff. So appreciate all you do, man, from the bottom of my heart. All right, Moonscar. Love your attempt at the mock draft, Coach. But predicting anything Brad Holmes does is definitely impossible. Glad you had fun with it. Yeah, and Moonscar, that's exactly it. Just have fun with it. I think ultimately with the mock drafts, it just helps us as a fan base, or at least most of us, get to know the potential players better. Doesn't mean we'll get them right. Doesn't mean we'll probably get those individuals we're predicting in different scenarios. It's just an attempt to have a little fun, stay engaged, and learn about the prospects in the draft. All right, AJ. Jason Berry, yes, I think Brad Holmes needs to get after things this year and focus on the window of opportunity we have right now. I think there's a lot of truth to that. At some point, I mean, you can keep drafting great all you want, and that will help keep a franchise relevant for a long period of time. But when you do get an opportunity, you got to go. You guys probably know my mantra. Right? You get an opportunity, you got to go for it. You got to try to seize it. And I think we'll probably see some different non-historical moves out of Brad Holmes this offseason, but time will tell. All right, a couple more here, and then let's get to the list. Bergs, the Lions needs via draft, defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, big body type, possible field goal kicker, and O-line depth. Yeah, I would say you're pretty spot on with that. France, right, Holmes is brilliant at what he does. Mock drafts are just guesswork. It was all done yesterday. I thought it was well done yesterday. Man, I can't talk. All right. Thanks for that, by the way, Francis. Thank you very much for that. All right. So here's some of the top available, free agents. And we're not going to worry about quarterbacks. I just don't see it as a potential spot. Same with running backs. But now let's go to centers. You have from the Miami Dolphins, Connor Williams, Andre James from the Raiders, Lloyd Cushenberry from the Denver Broncos, Tyler Bildaz from the Dallas Cowboys, and Coleman Shelton are from the Rams, are probably the top 5 free agents there. Now, obviously, center would only be a priority to us if Frank Ragnow decided to not return next year. He's going to retire. So outside of that, I don't see it as a potential possibility. If you go to guards, you do have a number of guards and free agents. And yes, Jonah Jackson is listed in the top 10 that I put together. Other people on that list, you actually got a couple guys from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, will they both hit free agency? Probably not, but could one of them? Absolutely. The Seattle Seahawks also have 2 guys who are going to be free agents at guard. So, again, will one of them hit the free agency? I think there's a stronger likelihood of there. So you got Phil Haynes and Damian Lewis from Seattle. You've got John Simpson and Kevin Zielter from the Baltimore Ravens. You do have Dalton Reisner from the Minnesota Vikings. Brewer from the Titans, Dotson from the Rams, and John Runyon Jr. from the Green Bay Packers, along with from the Miami Dolphins, Robert Hunt. So you see there are some teams that have a commonality here between centers and guards as far as who's going to come to free agency, at least potentially. A team could always, slap a franchise tag on them or try to re-sign them. Offensive tackle, I think it's less likely. We'll need somebody there, so I won't dive into that too much. Same with tight ends. Wide receiver, I just don't think that we're going to have anybody going after a top 10, or I don't foresee our team going after a top 10 wide receiver, so I'll move on from that. Now, this is probably where most of you guys are probably going to agree, hey, this is where we're going to potentially go after people in free agents. So I'm going to throw you this list, and then I'll get back to the comment section. Sorry about that, guys. As far as defense, interior defender, so defensive tackle, nose tackle, Chris Jones for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be out there. I'm going to guess every Detroit Lions fan would jump up and down for joy at the idea of getting Chris Jones in free agency. That's going to cost a little bit, and we'll have to see if Brad Holmes is going to open up the pocketbook that much to get Chris Jones. Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins, Leonard Williams, Seattle Seahawks, Justin, boy, I'm going to kill this last name, Mutabuka from the Ravens, Grover Stewart from the Indianapolis Colts, DJ Reader from the Bengals, Rankins from the Texans, Fletcher Cox, Philadelphia Eagles, Michael Pierce from the Baltimore Ravens, and Tart from the Titans. That's a pretty good list, but also notice they all seem to have, for the most part, one thing in common. They're a little up there in years. So at least in my opinion, if the Lions were to go for any of these guys, that would be a strong indication, at least to me, that the Lions are trying to win this year or next year. Beyond that, I think it gets murky. These guys, just because of some of their ages, they probably do have some shelf life left. It's just, I think we can all agree, you start getting a little bit older, your return on that investment goes down a little bit. Now, this is the one where I think everybody's going to be more interested, and probably one of the biggest wish lists out there will be edge defender. And there's a pretty good list here. So let's see what you guys think. All right, Josh Allen, Jacksonville Jaguars, Brian Burns, Carolina Panthers. I do anticipate that the Panthers are going to retain him, but we'll see. Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody's very aware of him, and he would, I think, be a pretty good fit. But after these guys, this is where I think things start going down significantly at the edge defender spot. Chase Young, 49ers. I mean, I haven't really seen much out of him in the 49ers. Are they going to resign him? Maybe. But I haven't seen enough where I'd be jumping up and down trying to sign him. Bryce Huff, Jets. Grenard from the Texans. Smith from the Cleveland Browns. Zadarius Smith, Leonard Floyd, Buffalo Bills. Javian Clowney, Ravens. And Josh Uch from the Patriots. So, I mean, you guys let me know your thoughts on that list. I think the top three guys are something, at least in my opinion. The rest of them, it's not that they're bad. I just don't think they're elite by any means. But maybe that'd be enough to bring one in to try to help out, because there are some names on there for sure that would definitely help out with the Detroit Lions. Trying to think if there was anybody else. Nobody else I can really think of that would be a strong desire. Now, I know a bunch of you have commented, instead of drafting corners, trying to sign corners, because it does take a little time typically to develop a corner. So the top 10 that I have for cornerbacks, Jalen Johnson from the Chicago Bears. He's going to be a big one, and he's probably going to get a payday. Snead from the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the way he plays man-to-man coverage. I think he's physical. I think he's got speed. I think he's got anticipation skills, and that's a big one, at least for me. So if he does hit free agency and it's not going to kill the team signing him as far as breaking the bank, he's probably one I'd really go after. I don't think there's any chance they're going to sign two people, but you never know. But that's at least one I would target. Kendall Fuller from the Commanders. Let's see. We got Kenny Moore from the Colts. Stephen Gilmore from the Dallas Cowboys. I don't see him out there for us. It's no disrespect for the guy. He's had a heck of a career. I just think he's at the end of his career. See Nelson, the Texans, Adora Jackson, Giants, Sean Murphy Bunting from the Titans, and then Thomas from the Texans. So that's the list that I came up. And if you guys got anybody, feel free. Well, let me get back to the comment section, and I'm gonna have to catch up a little bit here. Ed, good morning. Do crew. Yesterday's mock draft was fun. Hope you do more of them. Yeah, I'll try to do one. I don't know. How about like once a week or so? If that works for you guys, let me know. Frank, yep, okay. Mike Green, salutations all the time to get the wallet open and checks written. Let's make that final push to put us over the top. Yeah, I think that this is the off season to do it. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. Was it strange for Sunday to come and no Lions game? Anyone else have that feeling yesterday? I know I did, because there was like the middle of the afternoon or whatever. Man, it felt like something was missing. In the morning, not so much, but definitely in the afternoon. Ed, do a mock every month. Okay, every month. We'll go with that. I mean, if you guys want them every week, every month, just let me know. I don't mind doing them. Probably no more than once a week, though. You get beyond that, just probably too common. All right, Grace, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Free agency, Stephen Gilmore. We have Stephen. Now I'll pair him with his brother. Okay. And you guys heard me when I went through the list. Maybe he's got stuff left in the tank. I just wonder at his age if he does, but I guess let's find out. Moonscar, at George, now I'm curious about this video. Almost went to the game too. I mean, yeah, I know in today's age, you can go out and watch any high school or college game online, something that COVID changed. And a few of you and other people have messaged me about it. It is what it is. It's time to move forward. So it stinks, but it's time to move forward. All right. JDC, Trey, what do you got? Trey, I feel the same. Then I started to relax. Well, I'm glad you got a little relaxation time in there, JDC. All right. Ed, can you post your picks, coach? I already forgot a couple of them. As far as the mock draft, I don't think I have it on the board anymore. But what I can do is I can take a screenshot of yesterday's final results, and maybe I can put that on the YouTube channel. You can post you can put a post up or whatever. I'll try to do that for you, Ed. All right, Trey, JDC. I wasn't sure what to do with the date. Yeah, it's a little different. It'll take a couple weeks for us all probably to reacclimate to non-football season life. All right, Kurt, greetings and salutations. I hope Brad Holmes finds corners in free agency and not the draft. And there's a few people have mentioned that, at least as far as starters, I think is where everybody's going. They want people who can come in and play right away. I think most of us get a cornerback, sort of like a quarterback. They typically take a little time to try to develop. So I get your point there. John, what's good all? Question mark. Greetings and salutations. Same to you. Hopefully never go to one, Johnny. Moonsguard, definitely strange feeling not having a game to watch. This Super Bowl is going to be extremely difficult to watch. All my Lions friends that usually get together for the Super Bowl are not feeling it this year. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of that going on. Maybe another week will change it for me. I'm guessing, at least on my end, I'll probably have it on, but I'll probably be doing something else other than paying full attention to the game. So kind of like background noise. All right, Drake, good morning, Duke crew. Time to write some checks. I concur. JDC, Trey, my wife and I headed to camp to see if we could drive in. We did. Enjoyed it immensely. Oh, I'm glad you had a good time, man. Oh, hopefully I had a real good time. Brother Ken, greetings and salutations, Coach Dan and family. Same to you, Ken. Hopefully having a great morning, especially a very early one where you're at. Let's see, Michael, we got howdy, Dan, Lions faithful. Some free agents, Jonathan Greenwood, defensive tackle, who Brian Burns, from the Panthers, Leonard Williams from the defensive tackle from the Seahawks, Daniel Hunter, defensive end, Minnesota, Josh Allen, defensive end, Jacksonville, Bryce Huff, defensive end, New York Jets, Justin Maberton, defensive tackle, Baltimore. Yeah, you got a pretty good list there. Jason, thoughts on Snead? I think you guys probably heard my thoughts on Snead. Safety Winfield, if he really hits free agency and we want to, move him up, I guess, on the depth chart over Kirby Joseph or Iffy, then yeah, that's definitely something. Cornerbacks, I think you're pretty spot on with Johnson and Kendall Fuller plus Snead. All of them are going to get paydays. All of them are, they're not the top flight guys, but they're just a notch or so below, and that's probably pretty good for Detroit. We'll see what happens, but all of them, I think, would be huge windfalls for the Lions secondary that I think we all know needs a little bit of help. Mr. Ed, now that mock 1 is in the books, will you be reaching them and giving us your in-depth opinions? Yeah. So the next mock draft I do, I'll probably just do it where I'll run it through and then I'll post it to you guys like a video instead of a live show. And just try to, that way each pick I can maybe break it down a little bit more, give you a little bit more insights. But by all means, you guys want another interactive one? I had fun with it. It sounds like Sarge had fun with it. And from what I can tell from you guys, it sounds like just about everybody else had a good time with it as well. Dennis, good morning, fam. Good morning to you, too. Hopefully you have a great one. Detroit D, let's see. Greens, salutations, everyone. Go Lions, 100%. Good to see you, man. I know it's been a couple days. Hopefully you're having a good time. Hookadoo, good morning, coach, and Do Crew, back at you. Dennis and Brad, we trust. Have to, man. The dude's hit the ball out of the park every time he's been at the plate. So 3 straight years in drafts, he's just crushed it. And you know what? I have no reason to doubt he's not going to do the same this year. Ed, I would also like to hear from Sarge on the picks. And thanks to Sarge for yesterday. Yeah, I'll try to do that. Him and I, maybe the next one, we'll just do like I said, a video, go in depth with the picks and then post it, but still offer an interactive one because it seems like everybody enjoyed it. All right, brother. Fans, y'all have to realize great GMs have an unusually sharp eye for talent. I would have fully agree for that. They can see things in the player that conventional wisdom doesn't see. Yeah, 1,000%. You look at, I'll just stick to Detroit. So outside of Brad Holmes, probably the last one that I could say was at his level wasn't a Lions GM. It would have been Trader Jack McCloskey for the Pistons in the, early to mid to, I guess even the 80s, we'll just say, and early 90s. Guy found players in the draft, found people in the late rounds, even the second round, which is, in the NBA, that's really something. If you're hitting on second round picks, I mean, that's like hitting in the 18th round of the NFL draft. So the fact that he was able to do that consistently for a few years in a row, that says a lot about him. Plus, McCloskey was able to go out and find talent on other teams that those teams either were using the way the Pistons would use them or just not IDing roles for them. So I think you're pretty spot on, again. Bergs, yes, George, Dan, it's class act, very professional in every way he does. I'm honored to call him a friend, great guy. Thanks for that, man. Thank you very much. Dennis, our Chrisma, I guess I'm not sure what you mean by that. Dennis, sorry about that, man. Maybe I haven't had my Mountain Dew yet this morning, so sorry if I'm not fully awake. JDC, yes, thanks, Sarge. Hey, Sarge getting a lot of love here. All right, Phil, Lions have a superior scouting department. They do. Teams are even cherry picking out of the front office. Yeah, when you're successful, any franchise, people are going to want your talent. They're going to want to know what you're doing, what they're missing, and why they aren't able to do what you are. So 100%, that scouting department, nobody wants to hear in Detroit, but it's going to get basically bought up. Every team is going to try to get portions of it to come over to them. All right, Detroit D, hope Brad really gets us a good corner in free agency and the draft. Don't want to overspend for an aging player. Yeah, and that's the trick, balancing, what you're putting into that person and what you can get back from them and how long you can get that product out of them. All right, Dennis, hell yeah, Phil, 100%. Yep. Phil, season over for your team, Dan? No, we've still got all of February to go before the playoffs. So it was, it was a big game, packed house, whatever you want to say. Both teams played incredibly well and rose to the challenge. We had our opportunities to win. Unfortunately, at the end, they made at least 2 more plays than us. We'll put it that way. So give them credit. They made 2 more plays and a great learning opportunity for us. So that's how I'm looking at it. All right, Doug, a number 1 corner, absolutely no reason, and I don't mean Sutton level cornerback. Yeah, you're going to probably want to elevate above that. And to be fairness, that helps Sutton out because now he doesn't have to guard the Justin Jeffersons of the world. He can guard somebody he's probably a little bit better matched up, prepared for in a number 2 or maybe a number 3 receiver. Phil, Dennis, yes. Brother Ken, Dan, what are your thoughts on the media trying to create controversy about Ben Johnson turning down the commander's offer? I just think you're pretty much nailed it, Ken. They're just trying to create controversy because you know what? It's a slower news cycle. There's not a lot of other stuff happening. Detroit Lions are going to generate views, clicks, and everything because their popularity across the nation right now, or the NFL fan base. So yeah, to me that's nothing more than media trying to put content out. I don't think there's really much news behind it, but they're going to try to spin it and put it at an angle that brings in views because they have bills to pay too. All right, Michael, free agency, cornerback Doris Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Stephen Gilmore, Rocky Sin, Sean Bunting. Okay. Yeah, and Bunting, from Central Michigan University. Yeah, good list you got there, Michael. Very good list. All right, JDC, in memory of the Tree of Destiny. There we go. All salute the fallen Tree of Destiny. I'm hoping Jason will bust it back out next November. Who knows? Maybe right at the first week of the NFL season. Phil, seems like a very weak draft, but I know, but I too know nothing about. Yeah, and most of us, and that's probably the first few mock drafts you watch, or whether it's on this channel or anybody's. There are some people that put in a lot of time and work to understand the prospects. I get it. There are some, but I'm going to guess most of them are just feeling things out, starting the process of getting to know guys. And whether you're watching this or at home going through the mocks, the farther we get into them, that's where, just like anything else in life, week by week, you're going to get and acquire more information about most of the potential players especially the first couple rounds. From there, probably does become more guesswork. Pickering Auto, good morning, Dan. Would like your help on a piece of commercial real estate I would like to sell. Thanks for a great season for covering our Lions. Really enjoy your show, Fred. Fred, you can get my number off the start of the video. Go ahead and shoot me a text or call me. And yeah, for sure, I'll help you sell it. So commercial real estate, something I've done for over, 20 some years. So yeah, I'll help you out. Phil, rip the towel of truth. The towel of truth, the destiny or whatever it's called. I probably have to bathe it in some Mountain Dew this off season to help recharge it. All right, Boo. Good morning, Dew Crew. Media is doing their things, but we know what is fake news. Yeah, and here's what I'd say. I started noticing it by the mid or late 90s that media, as probably most of us growing up had known it, had changed. It just out of necessity. Newspaper industry was changing, greatly. TV media, all of it was becoming because the internet, the rise of the internet changed the game. People had to find more and more ways to get people to engage in content. Because at the end of the day, you could be the greatest reporter ever, but if nobody's reading your articles or watching your channel or whatever on News 3 or something, nobody's watching your bits, then you don't have revenue coming in because you don't have advertising, subscribers, etc. Nobody's buying the monthly subscription for your newspaper. You guys get it, your magazines or whatever. So media changed, and it's probably here to stay, unfortunately. Phil, lose the Target towel and get some from Myers. There you go. I'll have to maybe look to upgrade the towel. So off-season concerns for sure. Doug, free agency has to be decided first. That's in 40 days. Yeah, it's coming up real quick. So you see the targets. The other thing I think, Doug, that most of us need to also consider is the agency list I gave out will change exponentially as teams make some choices on players. Are they going to cut them? Are they going to move on from this guy, etc.? Are they going to slap a franchise tag on somebody? So in the next month plus, that list is going to alter quite a bit, and there could be some real gets for the Brad Holmes to consider. Charles, don't get mad, but first round Oregon and Duke as a great great guard center. Yeah, I'm not mad at all, man. If you guys have different opinions than mine, by all means, fire them out. The interactive mock draft, I've just tried to do majority rules. If there was basically a tie, then either the Sarge or myself had to make a pick, but just try to go with everybody's thoughts on it. And I'm guessing that will change each time we do it. Again, just as we get more information on the players. Brother Ken, will Brad Holmes spend money? Question mark. Answer. Sheila wants a Super Bowl winner. If she opens the pocketbook, Brad will go off. Yeah, and there's some real potential for that. What Brad Holmes does in this free agency, to me at least, will be the strongest indication of where he thinks this team is and going in the next year or two of anything we've seen so far. If he's going to go out there and do non-dollar General Brad Holmes stuff, then that means, yeah, he's all in on this upcoming season or the next 2 seasons. Phil, last year, the watch party was over quickly when we picked a running back and tight end. Tells you how foolish all the draft shows were. Yeah, people were caught off guard. I get a lot of people, myself included, and I'm going to be the first to say myself included on this, wanted, some splash name player, some big defender that was going to change the game, a huge trade that, man, nobody saw that coming. You could see all the thumbnails and stuff being written. And then obviously we traded down from 6 to 12. We took a running back. Most of us probably didn't know much about him. I knew some about him, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't do as much homework on him as I did other people just because I didn't think it was a potential target. I probably did more homework on Branch than I did Gibbs because I thought Branch was somebody, maybe we could get at 18 or something like that. So I did a lot of work on him, but almost none on him. Very little on Laporta, although probably more on him than I did Gibbs. And yeah, you could see it in the reaction to YouTubers, to people in the CBS, draft room and ESPN draft room. Everybody was stunned and shocked. And because of that reaction, I'm guessing that matriculated to all of us watching it. And now we were stunned and shocked. Man, if the pros are thinking this is a bad pick, well, we must think so too. But to your point, Phil, yeah, I think you're spot on. We all don't know nearly as much as we think we do, and nowhere near as much as the NFL war rooms do. All right, Detroit D, I'm going best player available at 29. With that being said, I want a guard, then edge or corner. Yeah, and I think just about everybody, maybe not, but just about everybody, I think we all agree offensive line, edge, and corner are going to be the big 3 targets for this team. And then somewhere in there too, probably kicker. Now, which order it's going to be, who knows? But to your point, D, I think you're spot on that based on Brad Holmes, he's not going to reach for somebody. It's who is the best player available to the Detroit Lions, regardless of position, at this pick. That's probably where he's going. Matthew, Fred Warner or Roquan Smith type of linebacker, that would be nice. Yeah, if you get somebody that rare, that would be great. Phil, I hate it when the refs affect the game results. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right, Big Ol, I am almost bet my bottom dollar we are going to draft a corner. I think, yeah, we will. I just think we're also going to go after some in free agency too. So that's I think they're going to try to find a balance between getting some youth, but also they understand that youth is going to take a little time to develop. So get somebody to try to help for now while also aiding and assisting developing the younger rookie. Big Ol, go after edge rusher in the draft 100%. Yeah. And free agency, I think they'll go after them both. Justin, I would say Jackson Powers Johnson, T. Sweat, and Darius Robinson will be a hell of a pickup with the first 3 picks. Maybe grab Jackson or Khari Jackson or Cam Hart at cornerback after and grab a defensive end or cornerback in free agency. Yeah, and like you said, you're going to see free agency, what happens there, then go into the draft. So, to me at least, there's probably a strong indication of whatever we go after in free agency. That will also give us some indication of what the team's going to do or potentially do in the draft. Pierce, any defense or interior offensive line, fine by me. Yeah, they're probably going to have to address it somewhat just because, whether the guys all stay, the band sticks together, or whatever you want to say, there is at least some growing concern for the future of that offensive line. And I would think if you can address it now, it's less of a concern going forward for the next foreseeable years. All right, Dennis, Evan Brown. Yeah, I think he could be potentially in line to come back. He played well in Detroit. I get the reviews on him in Seattle were mixed at best, but man, especially his first year here, he was near Pro Bowl level. So I would not be surprised at all, Dennis, to your point, if they bring him back. A big old Queensberry, yep. All right, Michael, The mocks are just help for us fans to educate. Yeah, to get us fans educated on what players are available. Most of us here recognize the need for cornerback and edge, number one. I'd like how you slipped that in there. Followed closely by a pass rush defensive line, center guard Ragnow. Yeah, I think you're spot on with all that, Doug, 100%. Pierce, Dennis, I'd love Brown back. Yeah, me too. I mean, again, I thought he played very well here. I don't know enough about what Seattle asked him to do or the systems they run on their offensive line. Maybe that just simply wasn't to his strength. But Hank Fraley, I mean, if the guy was that bad in Seattle, then Hank Fraley, that just shows his value even more because he's done, I think, an incredibly good job with this offensive line during his tenure. Doug, greens and salutations, back at you. Big ol' from Denver, correct. Doug, we got Glasgow last year. Maybe someone else like him who needs a prove it year. Yes, and I think, like we've kind of just mentioned, potentially Evan Brown, or maybe somebody else is out there that the team likes better. Big ol', I live in Wisconsin running a beast. Yeah, and he would not be a bad addition. It's just, probably like everything in free agency, it's going to come down to cost. Doug, we have a decent prospect in our 7th round pick last year. He blocks, has size, and some speed. He plays special teams. Agreed. Donkey Kong, Super Bowl or bust. Never too early to begin the trek towards the Super Bowl. And you know what? I like the way you're thinking, man. Boo. Yeah, Donkey Kong, infamous legend here. Big old Reader is amazing. Yes, not bad at all. Miles, good morning. I'm still all about getting a center to back Ragnow. Yeah, and again, you got to give Ragnow some time to make up his mind, heal up, and make sure he's going to be vested in returning before anything happens. The good thing is you've got 40 days or whatever till free agency, so we do have some time. But somewhere in the next 40 days, Frank Ragnow needs to make a choice. He needs to be fair to the team and his teammates and say, hey, I'm in for next year or I'm out. And I'm not saying he's not being fair. I'm not saying you need to pressure him today or anything, but probably about 30 days from now, he needs to have made a choice. Doug, Holmes is narrowing players down to some years left in the tank and the personality of MCDC. Yeah, constantly doing work, balancing the team out, making sure you got the right guys in play, and making sure that the roster doesn't get overly built up with older players that maybe are losing a step or two. So finding a good balance between youthful energy and veteran wisdom, that's a key component. Phil, free agents for last year did not work out very well. No, they did not. I mean, there were some good swings, and Sutton did what he could. He's not a number one corner. He may have even been playing hurt. Mosley, I mean, it's just unfortunate he got 2 snaps and then tore his other ACL. Is what it is. I guess you could just say, hey, not the greatest return on investment. Then CJ Gardner-Johnson obviously got hurt again, or got hurt during the season. I shouldn't say again, but they swung away, and unfortunately, none of the swings really seemed to have connected last year. Boo, do we think Brad Holmes is going to spend big on a free agent? Boy, that's the $1 million question right now, Boo. Right now, I would say stick with the trend, because the trend's your friend, and the trend is he is Dollar General Brad until proven otherwise. So I guess that's what I would say on that. But who knows? Maybe he surprises us. Maybe he thinks this 1 or 2 players puts us at a whole different level. If he goes after Hunter is going to get a payday. The kid, the edge rusher from Minnesota. If he goes after him and gets him and signs him to, I'm anticipating a pretty good sized contract. That to me says, man, Brad Holmes thinks we have the potential to really make a push for the North Division again and make a long run in the postseason, or in the playoffs. So going after him, maybe going after, I don't know, like Jackson, the cornerback from the Bears, or somebody else. You get a Kendall Fuller or something. Then you probably got some real indication where Brad Holmes thinks this team has the opportunity to go. All right, Trumps, woo! First woo of the day. There you go, Trumps. Dennis, Hunter, yes, agreed. Pierce, if you get Josh Allen, every sack he gets should be announced by Ric Flair. There you go. Allen would be another good one, too. Trumps, the Cryberry babies will be back Sunday tagging on. It happens, man. All right, raging on Campbell. Yeah. I mean, hey, every day that goes by, hopefully a little less emotions about it, but I get your point, man. Big ol', I'm just looking at free agents, cornerback Jalen Johnson from Bears. Yeah, he's definitely one I think will get a lot of recognition from teams and potentially a huge payday for that kid. Silver, hello, coach. Hello, everyone. Coach, get Evan Brown back. He is a free agent, center and guard. Yeah, and I think you're spot on. I think he's, especially since we have familiarity with him, with the team, the coaches, etc. He could be somebody for sure. All right, Doug. We will put the franchise tag on any of our players. I don't. I doubt it, in my opinion. I haven't really thought about it before until you mentioned a few of the team's players. I mean, the only one that I could see potentially happening in my eyes, I mean, I could be way off, would be Jonah Jackson, but I'm just not so sure that you're going to want to pay Jonah Jackson top 4 in the league money, especially since in the contract year, and it's no disrespect to the kid. I think he played well this year, but he did have a number of injuries this year. So I'm inclined at least to say probably not. All right, big old Josh Allen would be a beast. He would be. Yes. Phil, Evan Brown, agreed. All right, Pierce, Doug, only player who could get it is Jonah Jackson. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Phil, Stephon Diggs. Oof. Man, that receiving core, and I'm including tight ends with that would be crazy good. Now, can you afford to do all that though? That's somebody else's wisdom, not mine. Trump, no franchise tag. Yeah, I'm thinking there's probably not a high probability. Pierce, Josh Allen is 26, so probably young enough to really be a good target. The non-laughers, Will Lutz is a free agent. We need a kicker. Yeah, we do need a kicker bad. Phil Gilmore, maybe. That's a maybe. I know a couple of you guys have mentioned that. Dennis, Kenny Moore or Doris Jackson or Dora Jackson. Yeah. Phil, pick up Stephen Gilmore, make him coach the following year. He could probably come in and help coach. All right, Phil, it was a boring weekend. It was, at least for me. But other than just, normal showing houses and stuff like that, it was, I guess, as Jen would say, it was more relaxing. So I'll go with that. Trump's, I will not be watching the Illuminati Circus show this Sunday. All right, the Super Bowl is out for you. Fair enough. Walter, every week. Yes. All right, we'll do one every week then. As far as the interactive mock draft or a mock draft, I'll get you guys one out a week. Dennis, Will Lutz is my pick for kicker. Yep, and I'm going to guess he's going to have a few people coming after him. Phil, would just to see you on the court. You can always come out. We've got 7 or 8 regular season games left and then the playoffs. So yeah, we've got 3 this week, so it will be a busy week. All right, Trump's Taylor Swift, Kelsey R.A. Okay. Don't look at his border invasion. Look at these freaks. Okay. Phil, we need a Witherspoon last year. We needed him. I think the team, to be fair, this is my opinion, the team really wanted him. Unfortunately, Seattle got him before we could get to him. But yes, they really wanted him, in my opinion. Big D, yep, okay. It's JDC. Nice eyes. Yes, very, very well done there, Big D. So very well done. All right, Trump, with the Dew Crew draft Super Bowl for sure. This Dew Crew draft Super Bowl. All right, fair enough. And thanks for that. Kira, greetings, salutations, everyone. Cornerback Steven Nelson from the Texans looks pretty solid. Yeah, he's definitely one that would be worthy of looking at and taking a peek at. There's a couple good targets. I don't see any like super elite cornerbacks hitting free agency, but there's definitely a level beneath that, I guess I should say. And yeah, Nelson's he's not a bad one at all. So you got good eyes there. Pierce hoping the Dollar General Brad mindset is retired and opens the wallet up. This is our time. We aren't far off. No, we're not. And like I've said in the show, I think this would be a real strong indication of where the team and Brad Holmes thinks we really are as a franchise. Trump's, I don't expect Brad Holmes to go hog wild in free agency. He is building the team for long-term success. He is. So it would be an indication of what he elects to do in free agency. Pierce, Trump's genius. I'm not saying he will go hog wild. Just 1 or 2 impact guys. That's all I want. Yeah, if he could get, to your point, Pierce, and probably everybody, defensive end, somebody could really help get to the quarterback, and just one more, upgrade in the cornerback room or coverage room. I don't think our secondary is that far off. We just can't cover the top receivers. I think the next tier down we're pretty decent with. So getting someone that can help with the top tier receivers, that would be huge. Trump like defensive end and quarterback. Exactly. Yep, exactly. Bring in a starting corner and edge. To me, that would say a win in free agency. Yeah, and from there, just kind of draft around it. 100%. Phil, will you be coaching the same team next year? I have no plans really to go back to coaching, overseas or anything like that. So I would anticipate yes, unless they boot me out, I'll be back. Trump's draft big uglies. Yeah, you keep those lines strong. Keep your strength strong. Make sure, you keep everything going for the offensive line, because let's be honest, that offensive line, if it maintains where it's been the last year or two and healthy, it's just a huge advantage for this franchise. Pierce, my Diet Coke of Destiny says Frank the Tank runs it back one more year. I'm liking your Diet Coke of Destiny. I think I really hope he does return. A Vapor, Detroit needs a 14-win season. Let's make it happen. I like it. Phil, 24/7 news is not your friend. There's probably a whole lot of truth to that. I'll put it this way, Phil. There's no more Walter Cronkite's out there, in my opinion. Those days and times are gone. All right, Jason, JDC, the Tree of Destiny has found its resting place in the attic until the great Trinity of Destiny reappears. Team, towel, and tree, all in due time. Yes, we'll have to do some sort of, next year we'll have to do some sort of ceremony to bring the Tree of Destiny back into the fold. So let's make that happen. That would be awesome. Phil, Lions have an Oregon pipeline for players, and it's working out for them. Trump, the news is fake. The war is real. Media is the enemy of the people. You might be, there could be some legitimacy to that. Joseph, good morning, Duke Crew! Exclamation points. I caught the mock draft late, but it was a good show and I enjoyed it. Appreciate you doing that. Yeah, no problem, man. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And you guys want it once a week, we'll do it once a week. So, we've got obviously a while for it to kind of evolve before the actual draft happens, but just help everybody get to learn and get more information on these potential targets. JDC, Jason Berry, woo! There we go. All right, Trump, didn't the doctor, the Eagles took already get caught stealing? It's possible. The DT, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that I can't answer. I don't pay enough attention to other teams as much. So it is possible. JDC, Vapor, we've seen the 16 loss season. Time for the 16 win season. Man, wouldn't that be something? Detroit Lions win 16 games. Yeah, that'd be a heck of a year, man. Phil, the Lions keeping Mosley? That's a real question, man. I don't know. We've all talked about it on the show for a while. He's a good player when healthy. The big issue with him is obviously the last 2 years have not gone well for the kid. Just unfortunate. You feel horrible for him. I've got one kid. Check this out. There's one kid on the team, freshman year, broken arm, missed most of the season. Sophomore year, torn ACL, missed, from my understanding, the majority of the season. Last year, 2 or 3 games back in the season, tore her other ACL. Now, that's some bad luck. Now, so far, senior year, since they've been cleared to play, they've been fine and, getting better and better. But, man, I feel for Emmanuel Mosley, because from every time I've seen an interview with him, he seems pretty passionate as a player. You could see why this team would have went out after him. He plays with some vigor, I guess you could say. It is important for him to be out there and performing. So I know they gave him basically $4 million with some incentives and such last year. He's probably got to come down from that to more like $2.5 million or something like that. But man, if you could get him for around 2 to, we'll just say $3 million next year, I'd probably be all over it, because when he's out there, he is pretty good. Trump, AG will have no excuses after this draft. Yeah, and just you got to go out there and get the right people. The drafts have been great for the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes. Free agency, at least last year, was not what everybody was anticipating. Some of the other pickups they've had over time, like Khalif Raymond, etc., Josh Reynolds, have been great. And I get Reynolds dropped 2 huge passes in that game, but I'm not going to judge his entire body of work on 2 passes. So let's hope they hit a home run in free agency and the draft. Phil, Bobby rolls the Circle K. She sure does run it, man. So yes, you are correct. Hey, what's this? Hey, thanks for that. Thank you very much for that. I will enjoy a delicious Mountain Dew and hot dog this morning. And thanks for that, Philly. JDC, as long as the guys that put in the Honolulu blue and silver uniforms vow to, quote, shake and move, end quote, like they've never shook or moved before, go Lions, 100%. Keep the train going forward. Let's see. Troy Montgomery was a huge hit in free agency. You are right. And I should have altered my comments to just on the defensive side of things, but you're 100% right. David Montgomery was a coup there. I mean, he was a massive win, and the fact that we were able to get him versus somebody else, just huge coup for the franchise. Let's see, Pierce, I would say Glasgow was a huge hit. Yeah, you're all right, 100%. Not a lot of action from other teams, it sounded like, but the fact that they brought him in, he did very well. And let's be fair, I don't think he was ever, when he was brought on, the goal was not for him to be a starter, but he basically was throughout the vast majority of the season. All right, Doug, I want to thank you for putting just the right mix of comments in our input. You represent reason, experience, and cooperation for all of us. Hey, I enjoyed doing this. Thank you very much, Doug, for those kind words. But this, to me, what we have here with all you guys, this is great because we all seem to have some good sound wisdom, knowledge, and we're just sharing that with each other. I don't think there's any one person here that makes this show work. It's all of us, and we all seem to have a pretty good time with each other as well. All right, Bergs. Yes, Don Kong, Super Bowl or bust. Woo! I'll go with that. Trump, we have no problem attracting free agents. No, I would think we've become a free agent destination. Bear, re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He is a dog and a playmaker. Let's hope he stays healthy, and if they do bring him back, then hopefully he can do a little bit more than what he did last year. Trump, no way on CJ trash. Yeah, and I know there's going to be some resistance from different persons on him. So if the team does it, let's hope that, just because of health reasons, other reasons, he does better. All right, Troy, I agree with resigning CJ. We simply don't have a vocal leader on that defense to get everyone going. He's an X factor. Whether he's a beast or not, he makes offenses think about him a lot. He does. He puts some stuff out there. Hooky Doo, Phil, Doobie Doo. That's a good one. There we go. Bear, watch and see Brad Holmes about to sign a huge receiver. We miss DJ Shark, who is a free agent, by the way, this year. Shark is. Mike Evans heading to Detroit. Make it. Market. All right. I mean, if you could add someone like Mike Evans to this offense, and I know last year in the preseason, I was reporting that the Lions did have some conversations with Tampa Bay. Obviously, nothing came to fruition. But if you could bring him in, that would add a piece to this offense it does not currently have. All right, JDC, two Chargers facing each other. Dan Campbell in one. Two chairs facing each other. Dan Campbell in one. C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the other. I think Dan could change his ways. I think there's some stuff with C.J. Gardner-Johnson you like. I get there's some things that people don't like as much. I get he's also outside the norm for what the Lions do go after as far as player personality types. Some of his teammates clearly like the guy. I mean, and I'm not here to say one thing or the other, but to your point, I think if they bring him back, it would be my anticipation the Lions probably want him to, not wave at the crowd in the second quarter of stuff. You're probably going to have to talk to him about, hey, maybe you just did it with emotions, but try to consider it next time. On the interception, don't take the blindside block hit on somebody. You can get that stuff. I mean, the kid's only like 24 or 5, so he's going to grow up and mature. He's kind of probably see the world differently at 30 than he did at 21. So, all that needs to come into consideration. Joseph, yes, Witherspoon would have been nice to get last year, but I was wanting them to go with a spoon, but Seattle got him just as much. Happier with Gibbs, though. Yeah, the fact that you got Gibbs and Laporta out of that versus just Witherspoon, that needs to be considered too. So I agree with you, Joseph. Mile marker, what is a dead cap penalty? So basically, let's just make it this way. You owe player A $20 million a year. You cut them, percentage of that guaranteed money goes onto the dead cap space until the contract expires over time. So yeah, I don't really think the Lions have a ton of dead cap money anymore. They might have a little bit, but it's nothing like when Brad Holmes took over because of Bob Quinn's. Some of his deals weren't so great for the team. All right, Honolulu Blue Collar. What do you got? Cornerback, defensive line, interior, edge, then wide receiver, kicker, linebacker. Team is coming together. May have overachieved this year. Add that depth, and the sky is the limit. Yeah, if you can have a fourth straight year, just great draft picks, yeah, I'm with you that you could really do something in the next year or two. Phil, hit the like button, please. Yeah, if you're enjoying the show, etc., you guys know what to do. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so and hit the like button. It helps out the channel. All right, Pickering Auto. I think they will be if the free agent on the Lions take less to help fill the weak gaps. Like another member said last week after the free agent Lions, a incentive-based contract from a regular season to postseason. Yeah, and that will be one of the big tell as you see guys re-sign with the team. Are they all pushing for the top dollar, or are they willing to take, 90%, 95% of what they would get on the free, out there from other teams? Because if they're willing to take a little less here and there, and 4, 5, 6 guys do that, you're able to retain 1 or 2 more players that you would not normally. So I think you're spot on, Pickering. I think, yeah, it'll be real nice to see what they do. Phil, T-shirt, okay. Troy, I cannot see Frank nor Decker retiring at this peak of the team's potential. They stick it through the mud, so I hope they enjoy the roses. Yeah, they've stuck it through the mud. Yeah, that's where I'm probably with things that, I would think. I mean, we all know last in the postseason, as beat up as Frank Ragnow was, there was no way he was not going to play. He'd been through too much. And probably you could say the same too with Taylor Decker, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. I mean, guys that have been here for a while and just been through the most down times. Now that you got a chance to be through the up times, you're probably going to want to be around for a little bit. Taylor made, yeah, Walter Conkright, yeah, probably showing my age a little bit there. But Bear, I would like to see us draft O-line in first round. Need to grab starter and impact player. Yes, you do, 100%. Dennis, Dan, we are signing you to a 5-year deal, $96 million. You know what? You get that done, I will be on here 4 or 5 hours a day. I will make a lot more time for this channel. But thanks for that idea, though, Dennis. Phil, love to see the Micro Mike and you, Sarge, do a mock. I'll reach out to Micro and see if maybe he's able to help out with one. I know he's got his own stuff, and I know he's got like 2 channels, and this is what he does for a living. So he spends a ton of time on it. Plus, he puts graphics and everything else up. I did that stuff last year, and I just found to do this 1-hour video, it would take me like 3 hours or 4 hours to do it. And just unfortunately, guys, just because having my job plus coaching and just I'm trying to have a life too, I just didn't think I could keep doing that kind of stuff. Hopefully this works for everybody. I try to do as much as I can, but I also try to be conscious of my time. Micro Mike and there's other guys out there too. They do a great job with things. They spend an enormous amount of time on stuff. And probably most people, when you're just watching the video, you don't realize how much time those guys are investing just to make that video. So yeah, just food for thought for you guys. But yeah, I'll try to reach out to him, maybe a couple other people, and trying to do some sort of interactive mock draft for you guys. All right. See, Mike, sign Brian Burns. That would be nice. Strengthening that line and pass rush makes the back end of the defense improve substantially. Yeah, the faster you can put pressure and with less guys on the opposing quarterback, those secondaries look a whole lot better. JP, Mosley seems worth a shot on if he will take an incentive-based deal. He can play if he can get healthy. Yeah, and I'm spot on with you with there. We're thinking the same thing. All right, let's see. Is that still you? Idiotic notes from Trailer Center at Trump's. Okay. All right, Phil, how rare is it to see coaches stay with a team when so many want them? It comes down to the coach. So like yesterday, I was talking with one of my longtime college coaching friends. I probably watched him coach at 3 or 4 different colleges. And keep in mind, that's over 30 years. I was talking to him about things that I haven't, when I coached in college, different colleges, the NIL wasn't a thing. So really it's been a thing for like the last, I don't know, we'll say 3 or 4 years, somewhere in that range at least. I was talking about how that's affected things and, just listening to his thoughts. He's going to stay where he's at probably till he retires because of what he has there from the athletic director, the department, the facilities, because nowadays more and more it's about the external things college can give to players. So, the workout facilities, the campus, the education still primary, but all those other things are playing a bigger role. Plus, he had some numbers for me that I hadn't considered that based on the time that NIL has been around every year, just about every team, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, polo, or whatever, about 45 to 50% of your roster is going to change just because players are going to move on. So food for your thoughts. And not Lions related. Bear, Chris Jones would be very nice. Think about that. He would be incredibly nice. Imagine him, Ali McNeil up there, maybe even developing, some other players behind them. And then you have Hutchinson up there as well. And if you could still get another end, yeah, that would be a massive line. Joseph, hey, you know what? Bobby's going to get a real nice tip today. And, like I said, I don't think she fully understands the channel and the Duke crew and everything. I explain it to her all the time. She just smiles and kind of gets it. But, yeah, she'll appreciate it. And, thank you guys because, you're making somebody else making their day a little bit happier. Seeing some of the people and how they treat her there, it's not always cool, man. I've said some things to some people, like that's just somebody working a job. I'm sorry they don't have those particular types of smokes, but man, just some people's reactions. But stuff like this goes a long way to making somebody you guys don't even know feeling a lot better about their day. All right, Phil, it's me, Pierce. Phil, now I'm convinced Brad made him some kind of promise in his contract. Could be. Ben, okay, fair enough. I do think Ben Johnson's probably going to get a pay raise. Aaron Glenn's going to get a pay raise. Dan Campbell's probably going to get an extension. And Brad Holmes, they need to give him a real long extension. Phil, no other show like us, this show. We are all a real part of the show. Yeah, this show works because of everybody in this chat, because everybody, talking and engaging with each other. It's not one person talking and, hey, you just listen. It's all of us working together. Doug, CJ, not a choice of mine. Fair enough. I get it. There's going to be a lot of people that feel that way. JDC, defense wins championship. I guess draft on that. It all starts with the guys on the O-line. I guess draft that too. Yeah, and that's the hard part. You got to have the complete team, right? And if you don't, you've got weaknesses for other teams to exploit. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. I got to get ready for work, all that kind of stuff. So, I got to get going for the day. But if there's some sort of breaking news, I'll try to get it on to you guys as quick as possible. I hope you guys knows that. Do have a game day, so it might be a little bit limited today, but it is what it is. If you enjoy the channel, please consider subscribing, making that push to get to 5,800. I think we're about 30 subs away. And also, if you would, hit that thumbs up button. Other than that, take care. Enjoy your day. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. See you guys.